Ladies and gentlemen, there's something I want you to remember right now, something that can change the entire course of your life. You don't have to be afraid of anything, not of the future, not of failure, not of judgment, not even of your own doubts. Too many people are paralyzed by fear, fear of rejection, fear of taking risks, fear of what might happen. But let me tell you something with unshakable certainty. Fear is not your master. Fear is not your destiny. You were created for victory, not defeat. There is a power within you, placed there by the Creator Himself, that is greater than any fear you'll ever face. You are stronger than the storm. And when you begin to believe that, when you stand up with faith in your heart and courage in your soul, fear begins to crumble. You're not meant to shrink back. You're meant to rise up. This is your moment, not to run, but to rise. Not to tremble, but to trust. Fear is one of the greatest liars in life. It sneaks into your mind, whispers in your ear, and paints pictures that aren't real. It exaggerates problems, makes shadows look like monsters, and turns small setbacks into towering defeats. Fear will tell you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail if you try, that others are better than you, and that there's no point in believing. It takes reality and bends it until you can't see the truth anymore. But here's what you must hold on to. Fear lies, but faith tells the truth. When fear speaks, it speaks in the language of anxiety, worry, and limitation. It locks the doors of your mind and puts bars on the windows of your heart. But faith opens doors. Faith says, yes, you can. Faith says you are not alone. Faith reminds you that God is with you and that with Him all things are possible. While fear distorts, faith brings clarity. While fear clouds the future, faith brings light to the path ahead. While fear screams, what if everything goes wrong? Faith calmly answers, what if everything goes right? You see, fear creates a world of confusion, but faith creates a world of peace. Faith doesn't mean you ignore problems. It means you view problems through the eyes of possibility and trust. Fear magnifies danger. Faith magnifies God. When fear says, this is too big for you, faith answers, but it's not too big for Him. There is a deeper truth within you than fear wants you to know. You were not made to live scared. You were made to live strong. You were made in the image of a God who has never been afraid. He didn't give you a spirit of fear. He gave you a spirit of power and love and a sound mind. When faith fills your heart, it straightens your spine, lifts your chin and says, walk forward, don't be afraid. You've got what it takes. Faith doesn't promise that the road will be easy, but it does promise that you won't walk it alone. Every step you take in faith pushes fear one step further behind you, and the more you trust, the more fear fades. The more you believe, the more you become, because faith isn't just a feeling, it's a force. It is the power to change how you think, how you speak, and how you live. So when fear lies to you, don't listen. Listen instead to faith. Let it tell you who you really are. Let it remind you that you are chosen, you are strong, and you are more than enough. Fear is a liar, but faith is always true. You were never meant to be ruled by fear. That voice inside that tells you you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that you'll lose everything if you step out. That voice does not come from God. It's not holy. It's not helpful. It's not true. God did not give you a spirit of fear. He gave you something far more powerful. He placed within you a spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind. That means when fear rises up, you don't have to listen. You can speak back with boldness, because what God put in you is stronger than anything that comes against you. A spirit of fear makes you hesitate when you should move forward. It makes you shrink when you were meant to stand tall. But the Spirit God gave you empowers you to step into challenges with confidence, to speak truth when others stay silent, to keep going when others give up. You weren't created to cower. You were created to conquer. Power lives in you, not your own power, but divine power. The kind of power that parts seas, moves mountains, and makes a way when there seems to be no way. That's the Spirit God gave you, and not just power, love. A spirit of love, love for yourself, love for others, love for life. When you're led by fear, you start to close yourself off from people. You build walls, you play it safe. But love tears down walls. Love sets people free. Love is bold, generous, fearless. The more you walk in love, the less room fear has to live. You cannot live in fear and love at the same time. One always pushes the other out. So choose love. Choose to believe the best. Choose to see yourself as God sees you. Strong, worthy, and filled with purpose. And then a sound mind, that means clarity. That means self-control. That means peace even when the world feels chaotic. Fear creates confusion. It spins stories in your head that keep you up at night. But a sound mind says, be still, God is with you. There is no need to panic. A sound mind helps you make wise decisions. It keeps you grounded. It's the calm in the storm, and God gave it to you. Not as a temporary feeling, but as a permanent gift. So when fear tries to creep in, when it tries to steal your peace and stop your progress, remind yourself what's real. Fear is not from God. Power is, love is, a sound mind is. These are your inheritance. These are your weapons. These are your truth. You are not a prisoner of fear. You are a person of faith. And when you walk in what God gave you, there is no mountain too high, no valley too deep, and no battle too big. You are equipped, you are empowered, and you are free. Courage isn't something that shows up only when everything feels safe and certain. Courage isn't about having no fear at all. It's about moving forward even when fear is screaming in your ears. It's standing up when your knees are shaking, speaking up when your voice trembles, and pressing on when everything in you wants to retreat. That's real courage. It's not the absence of fear, it's the decision that fear will not have the final say. The most courageous people in history weren't without fear. They just refused to bow to it. They felt the same doubts, the same what-ifs, the same nervous energy, but they didn't stop there. They chose to rise anyway. Courage means walking into the unknown with faith as your companion. It means believing there's something greater on the other side of fear. Courage doesn't wait for the fear to vanish. If you wait until you feel fearless, you'll wait your whole life. Fear is a part of growth. It's part of risk. It's part of living fully. Courage says, I may be afraid, but I'm going anyway. It's not reckless, it's resilient. It's not careless, it's committed. It means you trust the outcome to something bigger than yourself. It means you refuse to let the fear of what might go wrong keep you from discovering what might go right. The truth is, every breakthrough in your life will require a step through fear. You'll never move forward in comfort. That moment when your heart races, when your mind floods with doubt, when you feel small in front of a big challenge, that's the moment courage is born. You either turn back and stay safe, or you push through and find strength you didn't know you had. And when you do, something powerful happens. The fear begins to shrink. The more you walk in courage, the more you train your spirit to rise instead of retreat. You build a habit of bravery. You grow your soul. You were created to be bold. Fear may visit, but it doesn't have to stay. You don't have to welcome it. You don't have to let it run the show. When fear comes knocking, you can answer with action. You can say, "I see you, but you don't own me." Every time you do what fear tells you not to, you weaken its grip and strengthen your spirit. That's how courage works. It's not loud, not always visible, but it's deep. It's steady, and it's inside you, waiting to be awakened. So don't let fear stop you. Let it challenge you. Let it be the very thing that drives you forward. Feel it, face it, and keep moving. You're not waiting for courage to come. You're walking in it now. And every brave step you take is a reminder that fear doesn't get to choose your destiny. You do. Every fear you face is not just a challenge. It's a doorway to strength. It's not there to stop you, it's there to shape you. Too many people look at fear as the end of the road. They say, "I'm afraid, so I can't," or "I'm afraid, so I won't." But the truth is this: fear is not a signal to quit. It's an invitation to grow. Every time you come face with something that scares you, you're standing in front of an opportunity to build spiritual muscle, mental toughness, and deep, lasting confidence. That fear you feel, it's not a wall, it's a weight. And just like lifting weights builds your body, lifting through fear builds your soul. You don't get stronger by staying in comfort zones. You don't build faith by running from hard things. The real growth happens in the tension. It happens when you feel that resistance inside, that shaking in your heart, and instead of retreating, you say, "I'm going to lean in anyway." That's when your faith starts to deepen. That's when you realize you're capable of far more than you ever imagined. When you face fear and choose to move forward, you expand what's possible for you. You grow not only in courage, but in character. Each moment of fear is a training ground. It's a place where you either shrink or strengthen. You may not feel ready. You may feel small. But God does some of His greatest work in those moments when you feel least capable. That's when He steps in. That's when His strength becomes your strength. That's when your faith starts to speak louder than your fear. You stop focusing on what could go wrong and start standing on what's already right. And what's right is this: you are not alone. You are not powerless. You are not unworthy. You are being prepared for something greater. Fear loses its power when you see it as fuel, when you stop letting it define you and start letting it develop you. Don't run from fear. Face it, feel it, and fight through it. Each time you do, you build a little more boldness, a little more trust, a little more grit. You don't have to be fearless to grow. You just have to be willing. Willing to take one step when fear says stop. Willing to try again when fear whispers quit. That willingness is where strength is born. So the next time fear shows up, don't see it as a threat. See it as a test of how strong your faith is willing to be, a test of how much you trust the one who called you. Let fear become your teacher, your motivator, your personal trainer for greatness, because every fear is a chance to build strength. Not just physical strength, but spiritual endurance, emotional resilience, and a heart that refuses to back down. Most people are held back not by their lack of ability, but by the questions they ask themselves. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if everything falls apart? These silent whispers of doubt echo louder than the voice of possibility. But here's the truth. Those questions don't come from faith. They come from fear, and fear always aims to shrink your vision, to limit your steps, and to lock you into a pattern of hesitation. But imagine what could happen if you changed that question. Instead of saying, "What if I fail?" ask yourself, "What if I succeed?" That shift in thinking may sound simple, but it's powerful. It opens the door to opportunity. It awakens your imagination. It invites courage to stand where fear once ruled. Because now, instead of picturing defeat, you start to see the vision of victory. You begin to feel the energy of success. You start to expect great things instead of dreading disappointment. That one change from anxiety to expectancy can change your entire life. When you ask, "What if I succeed?" your mind begins to align with your potential. You don't just see obstacles. You start seeing options. You don't just feel pressure. You start feeling purpose. That change in mindset activates something deep within you, belief. And belief is the foundation for every dream that's ever been realized. The most successful people you've ever admired weren't without doubts. They just chose to lean into hope more than fear. They asked better questions. They made space for success to show up. When you approach life with expectancy, you're no longer waiting for permission to act. You're giving yourself permission to believe. You're saying, yes, it could go wrong, but it could also go right. And that possibility is worth pursuing, because on the other side of fear is growth. On the other side of risk is reward, and on the other side of every what if is a chance to prove to yourself just how powerful you truly are. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about faithful thinking. It's about standing on the promises that say you are more than a conqueror, that all things are possible, and that he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. When you shift from anxiety to expectancy, you're choosing to believe that the best is yet to come. You're not naive, you're courageous. You're not ignoring reality. You're speaking to it with faith. So stop asking what could go wrong and start imagining what could go incredibly right. Let that vision fuel your steps. Let it give you the strength to try again, to rise again, and to believe again. Your break through may not be far. It may just be on the other side of a new question. What if this is the moment everything changes? What if this is the beginning of the life you were meant to live? What if you succeed? What you see in your mind has incredible power over how you live your life. If you constantly picture defeat, disappointment, and failure, then your actions will begin to follow that path. Your thoughts are the architects of your outcomes. That's why it's absolutely essential to learn how to visualize victory instead of defeat. You must begin every day not with dread, but with direction. You must train your mind to see yourself succeeding, overcoming, rising, and thriving, even when your circumstances suggest otherwise, because what you focus on expands, and if you focus on fear, you will feed it. But if you focus on faith, you will fuel it. When you start imagining yourself handling challenges with grace, speaking with confidence, walking into situations with calm strength, you begin to align your thoughts with your true potential. Your subconscious starts to accept those images as truth, and your body, your energy, your emotions begin to cooperate. This is not just wishful thinking. It's spiritual and psychological preparation. Just as athletes visualize crossing the finish line or making the winning shot, you too must visualize your victories, your breakthrough moments, your healing, your progress, your success in relationships, work, and life. The mistake many people make is rehearsing the worst case scenario over and over in their minds. They imagine everything that can go wrong. They feel the anxiety before anything has even happened. But that mental rehearsal only weakens their spirit. It steals their peace before the battle even begins. That's why you must make the decision to rehearse victory, rehearse confidence, rehearse joy, rehearse courage. Let those images live vividly in your mind. Start to see yourself walking into that interview calm and assured. See yourself giving that presentation with clarity and strength. See yourself stepping into the unknown not with panic but with purpose. Visualize yourself receiving good news, building new relationships, achieving the goals you once thought were too big. These images begin to reprogram the fear-driven mindset into a faith-filled one. It shifts your inner dialogue from "I can't" to "I will," from "it's too hard" to "with God, all things are possible." When you visualize victory, you start to carry yourself differently. Your shoulders lift. Your voice steadies. Your decisions become more bold. You stop shrinking back because you've already seen yourself step forward. You stop questioning your worth because you've already felt what it's like to win in your mind. So every morning, before you step into the noise of the world, take a moment and see the life you want to live. Picture it, feel it, walk through it in your imagination as if it's already happening, and then move through your day with that vision in your heart. Victory doesn't start on the outside. It starts on the inside. If you can see it in your mind, you're already halfway there. Visualize victory, and soon you'll begin to live it. Throughout history, the world has been moved, shaped, and transformed by people who felt fear, but chose faith instead. They didn't wait to become fearless. They moved forward while fear whispered in their ears. They were ordinary people who believed in an extraordinary God and an extraordinary purpose. Their courage wasn't born from comfort. It was born from conviction. And it's that same spirit that lives in you today. You are part of a legacy of faith, a lineage of brave souls who decided that fear would not be their master. They understood that fear was real, but it wasn't final. Think of Moses, standing before the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army closing in behind. He could have panicked. He could have frozen, but he lifted his staff in obedience, and God parted the waters. Think of Esther, a young woman trembling before a king, risking her life to save her people. She was afraid, yes, but she said, "If I perish, I perish," and stepped forward in strength. Think of David, a boy with no armor, no army, no experience in battle. Only a sling, a stone, and a deep belief that God was with him. He didn't let the size of Goliath shrink the size of his faith. He stepped out and the giant fell. Throughout the ages, faith has always defeated fear, not because the situation was easy, but because the people were willing. They believed that God could do what seemed impossible. They trusted that their fear was smaller than their mission, and that trust moved mountains, broke chains, opened prison doors, and changed the course of nations. These weren't superheroes. They were real people, just like you. They faced real threats, real danger, real doubt. But their faith spoke louder than their fear. Think about the pioneers, the leaders, the dreamers who stood in the face of fear to bring hope into dark places. Martin Luther King Jr. stood up against hatred and violence with a dream in his heart and the fire of faith in his voice. He knew the risks, he felt the fear, but he also knew the power of purpose. Think of Mother Teresa, who walked into the streets of suffering and despair, not with fear, but with compassion and strength. She believed that even the smallest acts of love could defeat the loudest cries of fear. These people didn't have perfect lives or perfect plans. What they had was a decision to trust something greater than fear. That same decision is available to you now. The same spirit that moved them is ready to move in you. Fear doesn't have to hold you back. You can walk through it. You can stand tall in the storm. You can rise up with purpose in your heart and faith in your step. You are not alone. You are not powerless. You are not the first to feel afraid, and you won't be the last to overcome it. You are part of a fearless legacy. Step into it. You are not alone in this journey. Even when you feel isolated, even when you walk through the valley of uncertainty, even when no one else seems to understand the weight you carry, there is a power within you that is greater than anything you face. It is not just your own willpower or your own strength. It is divine. It is the power of God placed inside you by design with intention and for a purpose. That power is your anchor in the storm, your fire in the cold, your confidence in the chaos. And it's always there, always ready, always enough. You weren't created to walk through life powerless. You were created to rise, to overcome, to shine. Inside you lives the same spirit that brought light into darkness, that healed the broken, that calmed the wind and the waves. That power is not reserved for the few. It's available to the willing. It's not just for saints and prophets. It's for anyone who chooses to believe. That includes you. The very breath in your lungs is proof that you are carrying something divine. Something sacred, something unshakable. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are not without help. You are full of possibility because God has placed His power inside of you. When life becomes overwhelming, it's easy to forget this. It's easy to look at the obstacles and feel small, but what you see in front of you is not the whole story. You must look within. You must remember who walks with you and what lives inside you. When fear tells you, you can't handle this, the power of God inside you says, yes, you can, and you will. When anxiety rises up to steal your peace, the spirit within you rises higher, reminding you that peace is not found in perfection, but in presence, His presence right where you are. The strength of the human spirit, when aligned with divine purpose, is unstoppable. It doesn't mean the road will be easy. It doesn't mean the fight won't be hard. But it does mean that victory is possible. That you're never truly alone. That every time you feel like giving up, there's something inside you that says, keep going. That still, small voice, gentle yet powerful, is the whisper of God reminding you of who you are. There is nothing too broken that He cannot heal, nothing too far gone that He cannot restore, and nothing too heavy that you cannot carry with His help. You don't have to fear the future, because the one who holds it is holding you too. And the power inside of you is more than enough for whatever is ahead. Stand tall, speak boldly, move forward. You are not empty. You are filled. You are not lost. You are guided. You are not alone. You are empowered. And the divine power within you is the greatest force in the universe, working through you right now. Believe it, live it, walk in it. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in the world, not because of what it is, but because of what it does to the human spirit. It paralyzes the mind, tightens the chest, weakens the voice, and steals the vision. Fear shrinks dreams. It poisons hope. It keeps people locked in cycles of doubt, hesitation, and regret. Fear whispers that it's safer to stay where you are than to step into the unknown. It convinces you that failure is certain, that rejection is unbearable, and that hope is foolish. And if you let it, fear will build walls around your life so high you forget there's a world beyond them. But faith is the great healer. Faith has the power to break every chain that fear tries to wrap around your life. Where fear cripples, faith strengthens. Where fear clouds the mind, faith clears the soul. Where fear says, "You're not enough," faith answers, "God is more than enough." Faith doesn't ignore reality. It sees it clearly, but it chooses to believe in something greater. It chooses to believe in restoration, in possibility, in miracles, in second chances. Faith heals by giving you something fear never can, peace. When fear takes over, the body reacts: tight muscles, short breath, racing thoughts. But when faith takes over, healing begins. Peace fills the heart. Clarity returns to the mind, the breath deepens, the shoulders relax. You no longer feel like you're carrying the weight of the world alone, because you're not. Faith reminds you that you are not walking through life on your own. There is a divine presence with you, beside you, within you, guiding, lifting, loving. Faith heals the inner wounds fear leaves behind. Fear says you've made too many mistakes. Faith says you are forgiven. Fear says you're broken beyond repair. Faith says you are being rebuilt, stronger than before. Fear says stay down. Faith says get up again. And every time you choose to believe, even just a little, something inside you begins to mend. Maybe not all at once, maybe not overnight, but piece by piece the healing begins. You don't have to know all the answers to live by faith. You just have to believe that there's something greater than your fear, and that it's working on your behalf. Faith says the past doesn't define you, and the future is still full of promise. Faith opens the heart to new beginnings, to renewed strength, to unexpected grace. It silences fear with the steady voice of truth, that you are loved, that you are capable, and that no challenge is greater than the God who walks with you through it. Fear will always try to return, but every time it knocks, you have the power to answer with faith, to declare that healing is stronger than hurting, that peace is stronger than panic, and that faith is always stronger than fear. Let faith guide you. Let it heal you. Let it set you free. There will never be a perfect moment. The stars won't always align. The timing may never feel just right, but still there is something within you that knows today is the day to be brave. Not tomorrow, not someday, not when you feel more confident, more qualified, more prepared. Today, because life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards boldness. Every dream, every breakthrough, every change begins not with perfection, but with a decision. A choice to act even when your heart pounds and your hands tremble. A choice to move forward even when your mind is filled with questions. That's what bravery looks like. It doesn't wait for fear to disappear. It walks through fear with purpose. There are so many people waiting for the right opportunity, the right mood, the right people to believe in them. But if you wait for everything to be just right, you'll miss the moment that's already in front of you. You don't need a green light from the world. You need a green light from your own soul. Deep down, you already know the next step. You already feel that tug inside pushing you toward it. That's your calling speaking. That's the voice of courage, quiet but sure, saying, now is the time. Being brave doesn't mean being reckless. It means being ready to act in spite of discomfort. It means understanding that growth only comes when you step out of the safe zone. Every time you choose to be brave, you stretch your spirit. You prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. You rise a little higher, you walk a little stronger, and those small acts of courage add up. They become the foundation of a bolder life. Bravery begins with one step, one decision, one moment where you say, "I won't let fear be the boss of me today." Maybe it's speaking up when your voice shakes. Maybe it's trying something new when you're scared to fail. Maybe it's choosing forgiveness when your heart still feels broken. Whatever your next step is, take it today. Don't let uncertainty delay your destiny. You don't have to see the whole path. You just have to move your foot. Life favors the bold because boldness is faith in motion. When you act with courage, the world responds. Doors open. Opportunities appear. Strength rises. It's not magic, it's momentum. And that momentum starts with one brave choice. Not someday, not after everything is in place, but right now, this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. This is your time, so take that step, make that call, speak that truth, write that page, begin that journey. Life is not waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to be brave. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to begin. Because boldness doesn't just change your path, it transforms who you are becoming. Be brave today. Your future is waiting. Walk boldly with faith in your heart. For with God beside you and belief within you, there is no fear too great, no dream too big, and no mountain you cannot move.